All right, welcome. So, piggybacking on the last session, we spoke about, and we're talking about, basically the three pillars of uh, creating leads. And we talked about the lead capture, or inbound marketing or um, pull marketing, right? Terminology all mean the same thing. We talked about those uh, four distinct characteristics to have an outbound strategy. Now, today I want to talk about the second piece, and that is the outbound strategy. So let's begin. So put down here and go down to my little. And so when we start talking about the outbound strategy, what I'm talking about, having your funnel, but we're more talking about using a megaphone, if you will, a megaphone to broadcast the message, to push the message out. Okay? Push it out, or other people know of it as outbound, right? So, push marketing, outbound prospecting, those are the two terminologies. Now, how and what can we do with a outbound message? Well, what exactly is outbound? Outbound is putting yourself in front of somebody and disrupting them, right? So if you're pulling them, then maybe you do a Facebook ad. They go, oh, I want that, or I'm interested in learning more, and you're pulling them in, right? Outbound is we're pushing the message out. Now, we're pushing to hopefully pull them in, right? Uh, but there are definitely some different characteristics that you do from inbound than you do for outbound. Now, inbound is predominantly, not always, but predominantly based on the internet, right? The internet is helping you pull those people in. Facebook ads, text messaging, they go to Google and phone you, that type of thing. When we start talking about outbound, we're actually talking about disrupting people, and they have not necessarily asked for what we want. So we are disrupting them, and we're going to disrupt them in either by email, phone, SMS, right? Those are the three predominant ways in which that we are gonna do that. Now, the challenge with this is that we're disrupting them. So they don't know who we are in most circumstances, right? So we need to, if we're going to do this, be highly targeted on our avatar, on the avatar. Okay, and if we're talking about doing email, okay, we're talking about doing email. There's roughly about a 3% response rate. Okay, so it's not large, right? And some people even say email outreach is dead. And in larger accounts, enterprise accounts, I believe that's probably true. But you're going to get a 3%. So the struggle with this, especially in the cleaning industry, is you are in a finite area. Okay, you are in whatever, let's say the Denver area, the Chicago area. Okay, and every area is a little different, but trying to get a massive database of names to market to people, is challenging. So some places, like as an example, have a customer in Ohio, certain areas in Ohio, trying to find even 200 leads is a challenge. It's small, it's rural, it's spread out, right? It's a huge challenge. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that we're going to get 1,000, okay, 1,000 people. So you're going to talk about all the care homes, all the private schools, all the veterinarians, or what have you in that geographical area. With a 3%, we're talking about maybe getting 30 people to kind of respond. And then from here, it just keeps on getting hashed and hashed and hashed. So this is not something that is easy to do. And a lot of people that don't do it and they hire out for it or what have you, they seem to live in this illusion that you're going to email someone. They just don't have the time to email them. You're going to sit back and say, hey, by the way, want to know who does your cleaning? And they're going to go, oh my God, this guy's awesome. And they're going to respond and say, yeah, where you been all my life? No, that's not happening. Okay, there's always a unicorn, and it can happen, but that's not the norm. And so therefore, people that don't do it really don't have an idea on it, and they expect instant results. And that's just not the reality. So we have to be very highly targeted in what we're doing here. And us just sending out an ask, can I meet with you? Can I get 15 minutes of your time? What have you? I'm going to say it's pretty close to a 0% response rate. Yeah, there's one here, one there. Would you respond? You'd respond if you really, if someone just hit it right. You're in the right mood. You were looking. You were really pissed off with your cleaning company, as an example. You didn't know what to do. You're like, I got to make a change. All of a sudden, you get this email. Yeah, that can happen, but most of the time, that's not going to happen. So the strategy for email has to be different. Okay, and the way we need to do this is we need to think of it as you're selling project work. Okay. Now, everybody wants the monthly recurring revenue work. I get it. But this is not the game for that. It's something you could do and it can help, but that's not the game for this. Okay, you're gonna want to focus on project work and a very, very highly sexy offer. Okay, and that offer needs to have at least like a 10-to-1 ratio, meaning you would normally charge $1,000 and it's on today only for $100. Okay, so someone goes, oh my goodness, that is such a good offer. I should do that. And then you sit back and say, limited time, right? Limited quantity. So the first 5 people, today only, right? To create urgency. Okay, and then you want to have a system to upsell them, right? You want to have a system to do that work, exceed their expectation, just do a fantastic job, and then have a system to grow with them or get to know them. They're not necessarily going to, because you did this project work, say, oh, come in and start cleaning for me daily. But now you've just worked for them. They're going to pay you. You have an opportunity to build a relationship. You have an opportunity to wow them, do extra things. You have an opportunity to look professional and have a uniform and all that stuff. And they go, I'd like to deal with this person. And you have an opportunity to do that. So you need to have a system so that you can put them through to when they're ready, they will hire you for monthly work, for recurring work, janitorial services. Okay, so this you want to have. Now, once you have this, then you can phone them. Okay, you can phone them, and you have permission. You can SMS them. Okay, but what you also want to do is you want to weekly entertain them to entertain them or educate them with your brief, to the point newsletter, either in the form of text or in the form of video. Okay, so now you have this system. And then when you send out the newsletter and the video, if they open it, you segment them into opened. If they open it and they click and watch the video or click the link and check out your Facebook page and what have you, you segment them into clicked. And obviously if they reply and say, hey, then that is a very, 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 very hot lead. Okay, someone that's clicked and what have you I would consider it a warm lead. And someone that's opened it, I would consider it to be cool but not cold. Okay, so now you have these three segmented. Cool leads, not cold, but they're cool, they're warm, they're hot. And then from there, you do what you want to do. You can, because they've opted in, because they've gotten your permission, you can then phone them, you can SMS them, you can email them, you can do what have you on somewhat of a consistent basis. You can continue to send them specials. Okay, but this is a courtship. You're not, like, how do you make someone want to hire you to do the monthly cleaning? Like, there are a lot of people I speak to that are potential customers, and their basic existing system, if they even have one, is have a list of 200, 300, 400, 500 accounts, and they pick up the phone and they dial once a month. Are you ready for a quote? Are you ready for a quote? Are you ready for a quote? That's the equivalent of me phoning up saying, hey, you want me to come over tonight for a little nookie? Hey, you want me to come over tonight for a little nookie? Right? Like, that's not what what's not what you're looking for. That's not what they're looking for. So have an outbound system that is going for the short sale, absolutely, but you're playing the long game. So you try to get in the door, you try to speed up the process, you try to build a relationship with them, you try to give them a really cool deal, right? That has a 10-to-1 thing. You want to make sure that you break even. You don't want to lose money, but you break even. And that is basically the gist. You can't make anybody, and so therefore you want to have a system in place that's going to do this. And you don't want to spend, depending on who you are, a few $1,000s a month when it's going to take a number of months to get people, right? This is a full-time job. It's at least regular full-time. It's at least 2-3 hours a day, unless you have automations and stuff set up. It's a job. You need to be on the growth hunt, right? So we need to look at it like, we have our SMS, our funnel, okay, and you're putting them in here through email, through social, right? Maybe through ads, through free content, right? And phone or email. And they come in here, and you want to try to obviously get them down to here right away. And that's why asking for project work, right, at a stupid good price and deal is, as Alex Mosi says, is, what you want. You phoning and emailing and saying, let us come give you a quote and them saying okay is somewhere between 0.5 and 3% success rate. I'm going to say close to zero, but that's a best case scenario. So stop thinking that you're going to just get all these walkthroughs and stuff like that. And that's why so many cleaning companies are 90% of cleaning companies are under 250K a year. Okay, because they're just doing phone calls, whatever. They're losing a job, they're getting a job. They're losing a job, they're getting a job. They don't have a system in place. And as you know, as Rich Dad says in his book, the cash flow quadrant, is there is employed, small business, right, and investor. And most small businesses are right down here, right? They are solopreneurs, pretty much. They might have a few people helping them. They're under 250K, and that's where they are. And you want to make the leap and become a business. And this is where you can be somewhere in, somewhere in 1 million a year, minimum. That's kind of depending on where you are. That's going to be really, you're still going to be really tough in New York, and you're probably going to be really great in Texas, right? Wages, all those things are all different. The cost of living, everything. So you want to get in here, and you want to have a system that's up to the $1 million as fast as possible, and that you have automations and systems in place. And that is the difference. In here you own a job, as Rich Dad says, and over here you own a system. So the choice is up to you. Do you want to own a job, or do you want to own a system? If you want to own a system and grow your business, you're going to have to put in systems. You're going to have to either pay someone to do it, or you're going to have to learn all the things yourself and spend 2 hours a day doing it. The good news is that we've created something that does all this for you. And if you want to learn more, DM me, and I'll be glad to show you and talk to you. I hope you found this of value. Remember, you want to have an inbound or a pull, and an outbound or a push system. And they work harmoniously together, right? And then you want to have the third piece, which I'm going to get to in the next video. So you have your inbound, you have your outbound, and then you need a third